Okay, so this is my video on how to repair a gauge cluster for a Kawasaki Versys. This is a 650 2009 model. The common problem is that the reset and mode buttons stop working altogether. In my case, my reset button isn't working, but I'm going to go ahead and prepare the mode button as well. This is kind of the cheap and easy hack method. There's a few videos online, but none of them really explain anything, and one is in a different language, so it wasn't very helpful for me when I was searching this. But on the forums, it seems like a pretty prevalent problem, regardless of mileage or year. So, first thing you want to do is remove the gauge cluster. It's pretty simple. You'll have to take off the headlight, which is 4 10mm hex head bolts, and then after that, there are 9 little machine screws, or like self-tapping screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. They look like this. They're all the same length, so it should be really easy to keep track of. Once those are out, there's probably going to be a little bit of mild adhesive along the seam, and you'll just need to kind of wiggle it loose. It's pretty easy, and then the back will pop off, exposing the PC board. Set the back aside, and now your PC board is exposed. What we want to do is actually access the other side of the PC board, so you can kind of grasp this and it'll pop off. There you go. Pops right off. And this is the open side of your gauge cluster. So set the top side of the gauge cluster aside as well. And now we have the part we need to work on. The two switches are located here and here. So if you look inside the top panel, you'll see our push buttons are basically just like rubber with a little extension. There you go. That when you press it, it sticks out. What that does is it goes in here and it presses that button. Now, on mine, you can already see, right? There's a ton of slop that develops in there, and it basically keeps the switches from making contact. So, especially the bottom one here, it's totally loose. And if you wiggle this around, like if I flip it upside down, you'll see that that switch is completely flipped to the top. And now it's to the bottom, so it's totally loose. And what that does is it prevents it from making contact. Okay, so the next step is going to be to blow out the contacts with some dust off or compressed air. Gently, obviously. You don't want to use like an air compressor because it'll probably just blow the switch right off the PCB. So we're going to do it with some Duster, ozone safe dust and lint remover. You can get this at Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere like that. And then the next step, we're going to use some contact cleaner. I really like the CRC stuff. They sell it at Home Depot. It's a QD contact cleaner. Quick drying formula, works really well, and that will basically clean off the electrode contacts. And then the last step is we're going to lubricate the straws that we're going to put in. WD-40 is pretty awesome. I'm going to use this water-resistant silicone version to lubricate the straws once we put them in there to brace the contacts. So those are 3 kind of cans that we're going to need to complete this job. The first one is, like I said, we're going to use the dust off. All right, move these out of the way. So I'm going to use it. It's a few different places. One, I'm going to go like right in the top here, so you can see that. Just a little bit of spray there. All right, you don't need a lot of this stuff. You're just blowing any kind of debris that may be out. And now we're going to use the contact cleaner. It's quick drying, so dump out any excess there. So we're going to let that dry, and when we come back, I'll show you how to cut the straws and get them ready to insert into the switches. Okay, so we're back, and I think what I'm going to do is use these yellow ones that come on the WD-40 can. They're a little bit thicker, so what I did was I basically just cut the one in half that's already attached to it, so I still use it. And then I cut little portions here. And the rule here is that it basically just needs to be a length that is shorter than the button. So like that's too long, obviously, but we don't want the button to hit the straw before it hits the button. So I cut these at a length that should allow me to pop them right in and not really get in the way of what I'm doing there. So yeah, you can see there, it sits down nicely below the surface. Cool. So I'm gonna grab all 4 of these guys, and I'll warn you, I have very shaky hands. No issue with clicking. And that one. So basically what these do is they provide a little buffer for the side of the switch so that it doesn't kind of flop all over the place, and I think that's why you're losing contact. So the next part of this is what we don't want to do is the plastic to seize up against the button and protect it or prevent it from actually working. So that's where we're going to use the WD-40 just to kind of lubricate the switch itself. Just a little squirt in there, and a little squirt in there. Yes, that first one was way too much. Let that bubble down. Give it a place to drain out. And that should be good. Okay, so now we're ready to button it back together. We're first going to take our top plate face down, flip our cluster over, and pop it right in there. Just rests in. And in the top plate, we will just drop it in over top. Already those buttons feel way better, so I'm curious to see if this actually works or if there is a contact issue on the switch itself. The final step of this will just be reinserting the screws to fasten this back together. Okay, so now our cluster is back together. And we'll go try it. Moment of truth. I have not tried this prior, so we're going to turn the key on. Maybe, there we go. Full sweep. And we're going to try the reset. Let's see, mode. The mode works. And you can see the reset works now. And the reset's definitely harder to push than the mode button, but I think that it's still probably, let's see, what time is it? It's 3:52. Crap. But it's definitely working, so that's awesome. That works. The straw mod is functional, and now we will work on vibration down the road. So there you go. Okay, so the straw mod is complete. I got the cluster back together with the fairings on. Overall, guys, I would rate this probably like a 3 out of 10 from repair difficulty. I know sometimes it's scary digging into to the electronics on the bike. This is really simple. It's a couple screws. There's no sealant that you have to like Dremel apart or anything like that. You're not resoldering any contacts. So if you have a Versys cluster that's giving you problems, I would be 100% confident in tearing at this. So really minimal tools, not a very deep skill set. You know, my biggest thing is remember that everybody that you meet that is an expert at something once didn't know how to do it at all. So don't be afraid to be that guy, and learn by doing. And that's it. Thanks for watching.